Yeah. Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm super stoked to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor, Katelyn Winkler, to the podcast. Katelyn earned her pro card at the NPC Universe in 2022, and she did a photo and video shoot with Sean Nelson last year, actually two shoots, and I think they broke the internet with a big fan response because they were very popular. She is a rising star in the world of bodybuilding, and I'm really glad to have her here. Welcome, Katelyn. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So my first question about how you got started in bodybuilding, and I was curious if you had an athletic or a sports background before you started.
Yeah, I did. So I've always been an athlete. When I was very little, my parents got me really into every and any sport. And then they just kind of saw like what I gravitated more to, which tended to be swimming and taekwondo.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a secondary black belt in taekwondo, and I was swimming all the way up until high school. And then after swimming, I started cross country.
Okay.
So, and I lettered in both of those in high school. And then after that, my college didn't have a swim team. So I was like, well, I'm just going to work out on my own, in the gym and, do whatever I want,
Uh-huh. Very cool. Was
Uh-huh.
did the swimming and the cross country kind of help develop your physique, do you think, in terms of preparing you for bodybuilding?
Maybe not cross country. So I was definitely a little heavier when I was a swimmer. And then once I started running, I definitely leaned out a lot. So I would say the taekwondo and the swimming really helped create that like foundation of muscle that I had.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure. And like I noticed right away when I started bodybuilding, like my shoulder strength and my back strength were the most prominent.
Okay.
Um, Probably from swimming.
Sure. That makes sense. Do you still do taekwondo too?
No, I don't do it anymore. Once I
Sure.
reached like the second degree black belt, I was kind of like, it's kind of getting a little repetitive. So
Sure. I understand. Yeah,
yeah,
very cool.
thanks.
Um, Now how did you get started in bodybuilding and who convinced you to do your first contest?
So I started bodybuilding back in 2015. It was the second half of my freshman year in college. And that was right around the time I got an Instagram. And I was already kind of feeling like I was really into working out just like on my own. Like I would go to my college, like my university's gym, and get on the treadmill and run 10 to 12 miles a day, um, and lift weights, but I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was just kind of like, well, I spend so much time in the gym. Like I'm here for like 3 hours and I'm just kind of skinny, I didn't
Mhm.
really have like too much shape, and I'm like working so hard and you can't really tell, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and I got an Instagram, and then I started immediately following just like athletes, and I stumbled across bodybuilding.com. And I was like, I saw the girls like on their page. I was like, wow, like that's amazing. Like I want to look like that.
Yeah,
So
very cool.
then I started doing more research into it, and I was like, yeah, well, now I'm going to be a bodybuilder. So, and then I remember there was like a specific, it was like something clicked in my brain, and I like called my parents, and I was 115 pounds at this point. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to be a bodybuilder now. And they just kind of laughed. They're like, haha, yeah, right. So that's just kind of how it came about.
How much do you weigh now?
So right now I weigh roughly, I'm close to like, I think 176. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what
You
I
put on a
currently
lot of muscle since 115.
weigh. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'9.5". So
Wow.
I'm one of the taller bodybuilders out there. So,
That's true. Yeah, definitely. You're definitely one of the taller ones.
which I mean, like it's a good thing and also a bad thing, because I feel like when you are taller, it's aesthetic looking on stage, but it's just harder to put on the size, especially like in my legs.
Hmm.
I hit legs like every 3 days
Oh
just
yeah.
to like, grow them. So
Sure, I totally understand. And it seems like bodybuilding with women is kind of dominated with shorter women, but they can kind of pack on more size in a smaller frame, I think, too.
for sure. Yeah. Like when
Mhm.
you're taller, it just requires more work, more food, but that's okay. I'm a big eater. So
Very cool. Yeah,
yeah.
you look great on stage too, definitely. Now, I was curious, did you have a fitness role model when you first started?
So like once I got my Instagram and started like, getting into bodybuilding, the main ones that really inspired me were Dana and Bailey,
Mm,
obviously, and Nicole Wilkins. I really liked her look. So like kind of one for figure, one for physique.
that's
Yeah.
terrific. Yeah, they're both really amazing. And Dana Lynn Bailey shows up the most, or is mentioned the most on this podcast. She's just very
Mhm.
inspirational to so many people.
Oh yeah, and it's like not only just how she looked on stage and presented herself, it's just her whole I really took to her mentality when
Hmm.
it came to bodybuilding and her training. Um, I kind of related to it because that's kind of how I am.
Hmm.
So that's one thing that I just really took to with her.
That's terrific. Yeah, she's really amazing. I don't know if she'd ever compete again, but I know she's still active on Instagram and such. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, she's pretty amazing though.
Meet again. That'd be awesome.
I would love to see her compete. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I was curious when you first did a bodybuilding show and you stepped on stage in a bikini, were you nervous or was it kind of nerve-wracking? I would think it would be, especially if you're not, just being new like that and just being exposed like that too.
Yeah, no. So I was a little nervous, obviously. Anything new, you're going to be a little nervous.
Hmm.
But I do have kind of a background like being on a stage because before I started college, so let me back up for a second. So when I
Sure.
was a cross country runner, very skinny, right? And when I was 14 years old, I actually got into modeling
Oh yeah.
because that was like my dream growing up. And so I actually graduated high school a year early just to pursue my modeling career.
Wow.
And so I was like flying out to like California, Florida, New York. Um, so with that, I was a print and runway model.
Wow.
So with that kind of came like obviously runway, you're on a stage, right?
Uh-huh.
So I already kind of had that background like of being on stage. So I wasn't really nervous in that aspect. But just because, anything new, like I said, is a little nerve-wracking. So just like making sure I did a good job and everything. But that just came with practice.
That's terrific. Yeah. I mentioned the Sean Nelson shoots before, and you just seemed like a natural up there, but it makes sense though if you already have the modeling experience. You did a really good job about that with those shoots.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Would you do more modeling now that you're a bodybuilder too? I mean, you definitely have a lot more muscle to your frame than I bet when you're a runway model.
Yeah, yeah. So like when I was a model, that was like high fashion, right? So like the really skinny girls. So
Yeah.
obviously like now I would be like transitioning more into like fitness modeling if I
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
Um, which I'm totally open to. I mean, I love modeling, so
That's terrific. Yeah, you're so beautiful too. You'd just be perfect for modeling, I think.
thanks.
Now, I know we talked about you earned your pro card at the women's physique at at the NPC Universe last year, and you also competed in figure and got fourth. Um, so what was it like to earn your pro card? I bet that was really exciting for you.
Yeah, it was very shocking, very exciting and very shocking. I did not expect it. Universe was only my second show ever. And
Wow.
so I did my first show 2 weeks before that, which was the DC Pro Am, and which is local for me.
Hmm.
Um, which I only, and maybe not too many people know this, but in my first show, I only did figure.
Okay.
So, which I won first and the overall in that. So when I went to nationals, that was actually my first time ever stepping on stage for women's physique.
Oh
So
wow.
like, and actually I was so new to the category and like competing and all that, I didn't even know that you were supposed to do like an individual like routine, like not your actual like routine with music, but like you come out before that, before you do comparisons and
Yeah.
do kind of just like 30-second. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
until I was backstage. So I just like totally just went out there and winged it. Um, so to earn my pro card was shocking to me. And like, let alone like winning the overall was just even more crazy.
I bet it
So,
was a thrill. Yeah, it must have been really exciting. Did you have
oh yeah, it was a whirlwind experience. It was a
did you
lot of fun though.
did you have some family and friends cheering for you at the show?
Oh yeah, yep, I did. Yeah.
I
So
think
that
that
was
makes
awesome.
always
Like
make,
to have that support system there too was awesome.
oh, I think that makes a big difference having a cheering section like that. And
Mhm.
that's amazing though for your second show that you turned pro. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah.
No, you did. You really stood out on stage there and you looked really awesome. And just, yeah, your physique was just really complete and, good X frame and everything. So I thought you looked really great.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I definitely felt more because I did both figure and women's physique at Universe, right? So personally for me, I was really happy that because my goal was to get a pro card, right? But I didn't know whether it would be in figure or women's physique. So I was really happy when I got my pro card in women's physique because that's just kind of where my heart is. That's
Hmm.
like, what I kind of always wanted to do. Um, and like I just felt so natural on stage, like the posing for women's physique versus figure. I felt just a little awkward in
Sure.
figure, just it doesn't really women's physique's more my personality. So I was really happy that I got my pro card in that.
That's great. Yeah, I think you can express yourself better with women's physique because you do have the posing routine and it's a little more artistic, I think.
Yeah, like you get to
Mhm.
show a little of like your creativity, like with that routine, and you can pick your own music, which is cool, versus like figure. And like, don't get me wrong, like I love figure, but it's just kind of quarter turns
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
no like individual routine where you can choose music. And so,
Yeah, so yeah, very regimented, I think, So yeah, that's great that you're pursuing that. And that you're going to continue with women's physique for pro debut, right?
yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, you had mentioned on Instagram that you had been prepping for a show for this year for your pro debut, but ended up having to cancel the prep. And I was curious what happened to cause that.
Yeah, so basically what happened was my body just kind of stopped responding. I mean, I could have still done the show because it was I was prepping for the Tampa Pro, and then 2 weeks later I was planning on doing the Texas Pro as well.
Okay.
And I could have done it, but I just knew in my heart that I could do better than how I was looking. And even
Sure.
at like and my body just like shut down. And I kind of I really pushed my body to the point where like my feet were starting to swell, and like it was just like not my body just like was kind of failing me.
Yeah.
And so at that point I was just kind of like mentally like over it. So I was like,
Sure.
it's time to kind of like pull the plug on it, like regroup, and no rush. Before I even competed in the first place that last year, I was lifting for 7 years before that.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was no rush to compete. So no rush for a pro debut. You only get one pro debut. So
That's true. I hope you'll consider coming back to Tampa because I live in Tampa, so I'd love to see you compete.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to I like Florida shows because like my parents live in Florida,
Hmm.
so like they could come.
Yeah, come and cheer
Mhm.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that's very cool. Yeah, Tampa is a good show too. I think that's one of the best shows for sure. And
Mhm.
the yeah, and it's
That's what I heard. It was a really like well-run show. Kind of like I heard some people say it was kind of like a mini Olympia,
hmm
like how the shows run. So I was like, wow, that'd be cool.
I think so too. And they get some of the top judges too. So I think it's good to get your name out there and your physique in front of those judges too. It's good.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, so what's next for you, and when do you think we'll see you compete again? Because I think fans want to know.
Yeah. So I actually got a new coach. I'm working with Justin Jacoby right now.
Mm,
And so we're doing an off season right now. And we don't really have any specific shows picked out or really any specific time frame,
mhm.
rather than just like 2024. We're looking at I was kind of like me personally, I was looking to compete kind of earlier on in the season,
Yeah.
just so because obviously we're all chasing that Olympia qualification, right?
Mhm.
So I was thinking, I was like, well, if I compete earlier on the season, possibly get that O qualification, then my calories can go up a little bit, kind of go into a short, like little mini off season and have time to make some improvements before the Olympia.
Mhm.
Like, I guess this year when I picked Tampa and Texas, one thing I didn't really consider was so my prep this year was 5 months long. That's another reason why I think my prep didn't really work out this year. Was my last prep last year was only 3 months.
Okay.
This time it was 5 months. So
Yeah.
that it was just that much longer. And it was only my second prep ever. And I'm still new to this, even though I'm a pro.
Yeah.
So and my body loses weight very quickly.
Okay.
So I think I peaked a little too early this time around.
Oh, I see.
And
Yeah.
and I think it would have been, I didn't really think this through when I thought of Tampa and Texas, but one thing I didn't think through was being in prep 5 months, and say if I did get an Olympia qualification at Tampa or Texas, then I would be in prep that much longer, like up until the Olympia. Like I wouldn't
Mm.
really have that much time, like November 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons why, like next year, I'm personally wanting to do a show earlier on the season
That
to make
sounds,
it before then, right?
I
So
think that's a smart move. I know
mm,
Sherry Priami, who's in bodybuilding, she did that where she competed in Vancouver Pro because it was like the earliest show in April. And then she won that show and it gave her plenty of time to kind of grow into the Olympia in like I think 6 months. So I think it's actually a smart strategy actually.
mhm. Yeah,
And
I think so. Because obviously you want to make improvements going into like the Olympia, and like if you compete kind of right before the Olympia, you don't really have enough time to do that. So
mhm. I think it's yeah. I think when you strategize like that, it makes a lot of sense. And so yeah, maybe consider Vancouver Pro. Although it's a long dang flights out there. I think
yeah.
it's not even in Vancouver. It's on the island, so you have to. It's even makes it even more difficult to get there.
I mean, maybe I've never been out of the country, so maybe that would be my chance.
Yeah, Canada's nice too. Nice
Yeah.
people up there. Yeah. Now, so this question, I didn't realize you had done only a couple bodybuilding shows. So this one doesn't, I don't know if it has as much resonance, but what has been your favorite bodybuilding show so far?
I would definitely Universe.
Yeah.
Naturally, so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a really good show too. And it's always top quality, top caliber show. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's impressive that you got it. Your pro card there. And now I was curious, after that show, were you able to get any feedback from judges and where to improve your physique?
Yes. So there was two main critiques. Which one of them doesn't really apply to like bodybuilding, but they just said get a new suit.
Mm,
So like, cause my suit didn't really come up high enough, like on my waist.
mm-hmm,
So, which definitely affects your look and like, your X frame and everything.
mm-hmm.
So get a new suit. And then they also said I could grow my arms,
Okay.
which I kind of figured because I was like, well, I don't really even train them that much because I'm a high volume trainer.
Uh-huh.
So with the push and pull days, I just figured they got really enough work in.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
but definitely like for figure, I wouldn't really have to train them. But since I did get my pro card in that women's physique division, naturally I got to train arms.
Yeah, sure. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, that's sucks on the suit though, because I know those suits are expensive. So
I know, I was blown about that one. I was like, I love my suit, but it just, and they tried backstage to tape it up like higher, and it just didn't go. Maybe because
oh,
I'm tall, you know, the maker of the suit maybe didn't realize how tall I was. I don't
oh, I see. Oh well, I'd better get a
Maybe if
new
I
one.
was 5'3", it would have been great.
Oh,
But
oh yeah. So yeah, that's true. And assuming, yeah, that most bodybuilders probably are about that tall, so they might not have realized how tall. That's
yeah.
pretty funny. Um, so I know, that bodybuilding is not a beauty contest, but I think it can't hurt to have, extreme beauty to help your placing. And what do you think about that in terms of the judging and having beauty up on stage?
I definitely think it's the whole package deal. It's not, you want to look your best on stage and display your best, and it's not just your body, like you want to, make sure you like look good. And I think like displaying a very feminine look is important.
Mhm.
Um, if you look at the judging criteria for each and every division, they do say like femininity plays a role.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I definitely think that's important.
Very cool. Yeah. I even in the women's bodybuilding division, I think um the female bodybuilding channel guys have said this is kind of the beautiful era of female bodybuilding. And
Mhm.
and there's just so much, yeah, beautiful women up there now and really displaying some femininity. So I think that's a good thing for the sport. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think so too.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Now, my next few questions are about prep, and I was curious, what would you say is the toughest aspect of competition prep for you?
Um, hmm, toughest. Well, no one likes dieting, right?
Hmm.
No one likes to starve. But personally, I like the beginning of prep because it's not very hard. Like your cardio's low, your food is not too low, but you're still leaning out. So
Hmm.
like you're feeling good, but you're also looking good. For me personally, it doesn't really get hard up until like 6, 7 weeks.
Okay.
That's when I'm kind of like, okay, so I'm starting to get hungry now. um, so I think that's pretty much the hardest part is once it starts to get my hunger. I love cardio. So like cardio is not hard for me. I love training, not hard. It's mainly my hunger at night.
Hmm.
That's the hardest part is kind of
Mhm.
like going to bed hungry.
Yeah.
Um, but it just comes down to willpower at that point.
Probably makes it harder to sleep, right? If you're hungry at night like that.
Yeah, like I take like GABA at night to kind of help with that.
Hmm.
Um, and then once you get to that 6 to 7 weeks out, like prep brain is another thing. Like you kind of, it's like simple tasks become more difficult. Like I know I have to like focus more on like really concentrating when I drive.
Hmm.
Um, and just overall like at my job, prep brain, gotta like double check work, like double triple check it just to
Hmm.
make sure I don't like screw up and forget things.
Hmm.
uh I found like making lists helps a lot,
Okay.
uh, just so I don't forget. And I also take like CoQ10, which
Okay.
helps. Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
heard that before. That helps with memory, I think, and stuff too.
Yep. Exactly.
That's very cool. No, that's cool. Yeah. I bet the prep brain would be hard to deal with though. It just seems, and I've heard that from other ladies too.
uh,
Um, but I wonder too, the longer you're kind of competing and kind of doing the prep, um, you get more used to it too. But yeah, I think it's something that's always a challenge, I imagine.
oh yeah, I'm sure like over time and the more preps you do, you get more used to it.
Hmm.
But I would never say it's like easy to manage,
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
like the more preps you do, you're just more prepared for it, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. You're better prepared for it and learn some of the probably life hacks that are required for it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I was curious, do you have a hard time dealing with that transition between, competition shape and off-season shape? Because I think, some of the ladies I think go through a body dysmorphia. And I know as a model too, I didn't know if you ever kind of suffered with that body dysmorphia when you were a runway model as well.
Yeah, no, I've heard that in the bodybuilding industry as well as modeling. Personally, with bodybuilding, I don't really have an issue with it. Personally, I like my body better in the off season. So I have no issues kind of seeing the lines fade. It doesn't really bother me at all. And like when it comes to like my modeling background, like I was always a runner, so I'd still work out really heavily. I remember like eating cheeseburgers at photo shoots. Like it didn't really bother me at all.
Okay.
So,
That's good. That's really good though. That's good that you have that. And because yeah, I think a lot of ladies do kind of suffer with that.
I mean, like, personally, I don't like myself really lean, because like I just hate my diet face so much.
Oh, I see.
Like, so when I get like the diet face, especially like when it gets like really close, I just hate it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, because it does kind of lean you out and kind of get you the bones.
Yeah, like kind of like that gaunt looking. But so yeah, like after a show, like once my face starts to like fill out more, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh, I totally understand that. Yeah. Now I was curious if you could give any advice to rising pros who are kind of struggling with competition prep in terms of how to adjust and how to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no way around it. It's hard. Like anything worth having is hard to get. So I would say just be dedicated. Because not every day you're going to be motivated to do your cardio, to work out, lift, and stay on track with your diet. But if you have that dedication aspect nailed down, that is what's going to get you to the finish line, basically. Because yeah, it gets hard. No one likes to starve. No one likes to train when they're hungry or wake up, like early in the morning to go do hours and hours of cardio. No one likes that. But if you want it bad enough, you just have to work for it. That's what I would say.
That's good advice, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I just personally I think I would have trouble with it just because I'm a little bit lazy. And I don't know if I'm regimented enough to pull it off, but I'll just live vicariously through you guys through these interviews, I suppose.
Yeah, like it's kind of like sometimes like I know I struggle, like I kind of have to turn my brain off and just kind of not really think about it. Like if I'm hungry, I'm like, don't think about it, just like follow the plan. So that's what helps me.
That's great. And you mentioned you like cardio too, and you're one of the few women I've spoken with who has said that, because I don't think most of them don't like cardio. So that's a good thing though. That helps you a lot, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of get in my zone. I listen to music, watch YouTube videos. I enjoy it. Like, I pretty much do the Stairmaster, because that's what I enjoy the most. It's the hardest. But to me, I enjoy that. So
yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, and just kind of coming from kind of like my cross country background, like long distance running, you kind of get that like that runner's high. That makes sense. So I kind of get that doing cardio. So I like it.
That's very good. No, I think that's good. Yeah, it kind of gets the endorphins going and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now you mentioned you have a new prep coach, Justin Jacoby, who I've heard of before, and I've heard he's really good. I was curious if you could give advice to folks who are looking for a good coach.
Yeah. I would say definitely like do your research on them. Look at their other athletes, see how they do, or maybe just like talk to other people. Like word of mouth is a good thing. And I would say those are the two main things. Just like do your research and just like kind of like gather information. about them before you actually like sign up with them.
Yeah. How long have you been working with him?
I have been working with him since August.
Okay.
So yeah, just a short amount of time, but I'm happy I made the switch. I think it was the best move for me. And he's been amazing so far. So
Great.
zero complaints.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from other ladies I've spoken with him or about him, and yeah, he's really good. Now, do you have a post? Or I should mention too, I'll include his Instagram page in the comment section below, so if people want to find out about him.
Yeah, like he has, especially for women's physique, he's very knowledgeable in that division. And he just like truly really cares about his clients. So, and besides bodybuilding, he just like cares about you as an individual, which is amazing. So couldn't
That's
ask for
really
a
cool.
coach.
Yeah, that's great. No, that is good to find a caring coach and someone attentive like that too. Now, do you have a posing coach too?
So no, I don't have a posing coach. I may possibly get one. Who knows? But we'll see on that. But for right now, I don't.
Okay, very
I do
cool.
all my own posing, try to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, I understand.
And obviously just like get tips, you know, like from Justin and other people. But yeah.
I think sometimes the women need help with just kind of the, especially the creative portion, it seems like, to get somebody to help choreograph, a posing routine. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That would help.
now, do you have a full-time career outside of bodybuilding? You mentioned your job earlier.
Yes. So I am a program analyst for a defense contracting company, kind of like having to do with like cybersecurity stuff. So I love it. It's a great career field to get into. And I also work from home, which is awesome.
Nice.
So it gives me just like kind of flexibility with my bodybuilding career. So I can kind of like balance the two perfectly.
Yeah, you said you're in Northern Virginia too. They got some terrible traffic up there too, so you probably don't want to be commuting into work every day.
Yes, exactly. You know, and it's just like flexibility. Like, since I don't go into work, I don't have to like pack all my meals, you know, it just saves me a bunch of time, like commute, packing meals. And, you know, I could be in a meeting and like have chicken in the oven or like rice cooking. So that's nice.
Very nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've worked for almost 10 years now, or 11 years, and even before COVID. So it's very convenient, and it is
Oh,
kind of less stress in some ways, but you miss out on like office politics and gossip. So I miss that a little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
But not having a commute is really nice. So because that and just wear and tear on your car and all that good stuff. So
Oh, yeah, for sure.
we only have a few minutes left. I was curious, do you find it hard at times to kind of keep up with the demands of social media? Because I bet a lot of fans reach out to you, or no?
Yes. I just need to do, I've had this complaint from so many people. I need to do a better job at putting out content, and just kind of like getting myself out there more,
Sure.
kind of growing my Instagram, which I do plan on doing this year. So I'm going to put out more content and create a website. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I'm going to do it this year. And also create a YouTube so people can kind of see more of like what I do on a day-to-day basis. So that's my plan. So I'm aiming for in the next few months, definitely by the end of the year, putting that out there, like my website, my YouTube all set up. But in the
Great.
meantime, just like putting out more like informational, like Instagram content. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I think it helps kind of get more buzz around you, not just with fans and other competitors, but even the judges too, to kind of to be out there more with social media. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't really know why I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I definitely plan on doing that this year. So
That's terrific. That's great. Yeah, I look forward to that.
you.
With your YouTube, do you think you would do training videos and stuff like that too?
Yeah, like I might do like a poll on Instagram and ask people like what they want to see from
Hmm.
me. But yeah, like certain like training videos, like the day in the life, and just maybe answer questions on my YouTube from fans that want to know whatever about me. But yeah,
Very good. That sounds good. I think that's a great idea.
yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, so I think I better do a quick outro and just say thank you so much for being on the podcast, and I'll get this posted relatively soon. But I really appreciate your time.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and best wishes to you and your future and in your pro debut next year. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Thank you, Katelyn.
Yes, thank you so much.
Take care.
Yes, you too.